Jiu-Jitsu is easier.
I was just gonna say, why'd you quit MMA?
I had a couple concussions early on in my career and kind of scared me out of being a fighter and ended up transitioning to jiu-jitsu. And it's been, I'm glad I did now. So it was a good decision for me personally.
So what's it like competing, 4 or 5 times in one night? That's got to be intense. How do you train your body for that?
Yeah, we do a lot of training. We do a lot of training at my gym. We'll do an hour of rounds in the afternoon. We'll come back and do an hour of rounds at night. So I'm used to the workload already, and it's more of a mental thing. Just you have to really amp yourself up. You have to really lock in, perform well, and then as soon as you're done, you have to be able to relax a little bit for a second and like take a deep breath, and then you have to amp yourself up again at the right time. So I think it's more mental.
What are you doing between each of those? Like some of those, it seemed like you only had like 5 minutes before you had to come back out and compete again.
Honestly, for me, the time frame that I competed was perfect. I had just enough time to relax and rest, but not so much time that I just like got cold and stiff. So for me, the timing was really well. Just put some music on, and I just tried to relax, rehydrate, get some sugar back in me, a little piece of fruit or something, and just try to calm my my central nervous system down for a little bit, and then 10, 15 minutes before the next match, I would get up and get my sweats on and try to get a little sweat going again.
Was there anyone on the bracket that you were most nervous to face?
For sure, he ended up fighting Gordon tonight. Yeah, so I mean, the betting odds, Nikki Rod was the number 1 seed in the bracket, and I was the number 2 seed. So as soon as I heard that he was out of the tournament, I was happy. I'm not gonna lie. So thanks, Vinny, for not showing up. I made 25 grand probably because of you. So yeah, it worked out well for me.
So was that a fight that you want to get back at some point, or are you happy to avoid him for as long as you can?
No, definitely. I have a lot of respect for Nikki Rod. He's a 2-time ADCC silver medalist. He's a freak athlete. He's really hard to deal with, and I'm sure we're gonna have a match eventually. So it's not something what I'm looking forward to, but it's not something I'm running away from either.
Is there someone in the bracket that you were looking forward to fighting?
No one in. I would say probably definitely the winner of Haizam and Patrick. I was really interested in that match, and I knew that was going to be a really tough match. Both of those guys are like top 5, top 10 heavyweights in the world right now. And Patrick, he has a lot of titles. Haizam's more of like the up and comer. So I was definitely interested in the winner of that, and then also obviously Luke. He's a young up and comer, and he's got a bright future. So those 3 guys were the guys that I was looking at to get some good matches with.
And this might seem like a silly question, but I know that when you're preparing for an MMA fight, typically you're going to trash talk your opponent, or you might try to avoid them during fight week. Is there any of that in jiu-jitsu, or do you guys all just kind of hang out together?
There's a lot of trash talk, yeah. Gordon's known for like bullying these guys online all the time. It's not really my style, just because I never want to be the guy to like trash talk and then have to eat my words afterwards. So it's not really my style. I just like to show up and compete and just keep it respectful.
And what are you going to do with that $25K?
I text my mom. I told her to pick out whatever she wants for Christmas. So my mom's going to get a good gift.
Does she have an idea? Like, did she warn you what it was going to be?
Hopefully not a car or something. Hopefully it's something cheap so I can, invest the rest of the money. But yeah, I don't know. We'll see. Mom gets whatever she wants.
And then last question: What's next for you? Do you have another tournament coming up? What's next?
Yeah, I had some plans. My professor, he really wants me to continue competing in the gi as well. He doesn't want me to become a one-sided athlete. He wants me to be exceptional in gi and no gi. So we had planned to possibly jump in a couple of gi tournaments in 2023. And then besides that, really, I'm really excited to continue to grow with this promotion, because they've talked about plans to keep expanding and keep growing as the sport grows. And I think that they're going to, probably have some good numbers from tonight's show. Tonight was a really big show. So hopefully they have some good numbers, and then they want to keep on expanding bigger and bigger. So I'd like to continue to grow with UFC Fight Pass as they grow.
Thank you.
What was it like grappling a 16-year-old?
That's a good question. Honestly, I treated him like an adult. I didn't treat him as if he was a 16-year-old. I didn't go easy on him. I didn't play loose. I played exactly as if he was one of the other grown men in the bracket tonight. Because at the end of the day, even if he's 16, like, he's a big kid, and if he was able to enter into one of the leg positions, he would be able to possibly send me to the hospital. So I wasn't playing with him like he was a kid. I was treating him like an adult.
I'm sure you've seen the viral clip of him destroying a knee. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, it's competition. He got a lot of crap for that. But at the end of the day, he was in a tournament trying to win $50,000. If he would have slowly applied the submission, there's just an equal chance that his opponent would have been able to scramble out. So, you know, if you get caught in a submission, you have to tap fast. And if you don't tap fast and it's in a competition, then your opponent has every right to crank on it.
What were the emotions like after ADCC? I know that was very disappointing for you. Just what were the emotions like?
Yeah, I was almost. It was pretty tough because, in my opinion, I thought I did everything I possibly could have to bring the best performance out of myself, and it was just it was a very unfortunate series of things that happened in the competition where I felt like I didn't really have a chance to show the work that I put in. So it was tough because it was a lot of hard work that I felt was, you know, kind of wasted.
So did this win kind of alleviate you of some of that pain?
Absolutely, yeah. I was pretty devastated. It was at the point where there were a couple days where I was thinking about, you know, maybe going and opening a gym and being a teacher and maybe not competing as much. It was tough, but definitely after this win, I've proved to everyone the level that I'm on, and more importantly, I think I proved it to myself.
What's up with Submission Underground?
Yeah, I think the Fight Pass Invitational swallowed Submission Underground whole, and they're just like, we'll just do it ourselves, you know? I'm not sure. I would love to go and compete again on Submission Underground. I have a lot of love for them. Chael and Heather over there, they always took really good care of me. They were super respectful of me. They built me. They're one of the main components in my career trajectory. So, yeah, I definitely would love to work with them again. But, you know, for now, it's UFC Fight Pass Invitational.
Congrats and happy holidays.
Thank you so much. Happy holidays, man.
Your opponent gave a lot of praise to this event, and as someone like yourself, you know, as he was mentioning all these other events that you've been in, where does this one sort of rank compared to all these other ones? Your opponent was talking about the treatment that you guys have been getting all week. How does this one compare with some of the other ones, and where do you see this one going in the future?
The money that I made is more than I made anywhere else, so this one's my favorite. That's the most important thing, right? The money's way more. That's 3 times as much money as I've ever made it from jiu-jitsu before. Besides that, yeah, the treatment has been amazing. You know, obviously they fly everyone out, put us up in hotels. You know, the show money was good. The treatment was really good. Our warm-up areas were crazy. We had like a little pretty much like a private gym. We had like a private locker room, private bathroom. So, and obviously that's because this Apex Center is built for hosting UFC events and having, you know, they want to have a good warm-up area for the fighters. So we just benefited from that, from this facility having all those things already built into it.
And we see a lot of fighters when they come in here for their first time, you know, fighting one of the UFC fights. It's hard for them to not kind of get caught up in the history of the UFC and in this venue. You know, for you, a guy that's competed at a high level, where there's still any sort of excitement, any nerves, anything, knowing that you're taking place, you're competing in there, where we've seen pay-per-views, all kinds of stuff going on out there, crazy action.
Yeah, I'm definitely honored. I've been a huge fan of the UFC. The UFC is what brought me into jiu-jitsu. I've been watching the UFC since I was like 14, 15 years old. I got into MMA because I was a fan of the UFC. When I first walked into an MMA gym, it was a little crappy gym called Thrive MMA. I asked the front desk person if they would put me, like, if I would be able to fight in the UFC if I trained here. And they were like, yeah, you know, you got to, like, you know, train for a little bit first and stuff like that. So my love for the UFC is what brought me to jiu-jitsu. And it's kind of crazy how things have come full circle. And now I'm actually here. I'm kind of like a part of the UFC. Even when I was doing Submission Underground in 2020, I was like the 2020 and 2021 UFC Fight Pass Male Athlete of the Year, and not even being a fighter. So that was really amazing. So yeah, I'm really happy. I'm glad that I'm able to be here at the Apex Center and be a part of the organization in the biggest way that I possibly can.
And, it's kind of interesting, with jiu-jitsu and the submission grappling, you guys are out there competing and the room's absolutely silent until something happens. How is it to compete when the room is, you can hear a pin drop? And is that something that you would like to, maybe the crowd to get more involved as it's going? Or do you like how it is when fans kind of taking a fight right now, or I'm sorry, a match right now?
Yeah, I mean, I would just say that, there's just certain points in the match where not a lot's going on, so it's quiet. But when things are happening, the crowd does react and the crowd gets involved. I've been in all different areas of competition. I've been in big arenas with the crowd going crazy. I've been in Submission Underground when it was Sug Island and there was no one there during COVID, and it was really quiet then. And then now I'm here at the Apex where there's a smaller crowd, so it's more kind of like personal. I don't mind. I like that I've been able to experience all the different forms of competition, different types of crowds. This was a cool setup. I really enjoyed competing here.
Do you appreciate anyone more than another? Would you rather a big crowd up there, or you like kind of the nice, quiet, and quaint where you could hear your coaches very easily?
No real preference. I had a really good experience in Brazil with all the Brazilians, cheering against me and stuff, and then I kind of won them over. So that was a bigger crowd. That was a really great experience. But I had an amazing experience here as well. So to me, it doesn't matter.
Were the Brazilians chanting that you were going to die? Were they doing that "ooh, vamos" hair?
They were a bit, but
won them over though.
My coach is Brazilian, so he was protecting me, and he turned me into honorary Brazilian. So they love me over there now.
That's awesome. Congrats on the victory.
Thank you so much.
I just have one more question. When are you going to teach Anthony Smith how to grapple?
Oh, man. Anthony Smith, I just hope he doesn't beat my ass, Just as long as we're not throwing punches, yeah, we could grapple anytime.
I know, right?